to CD ROMP, a brotherly stroll through PC games from the 90s and early 2000s. My name's Bob.
I'm Chip.
He's my brother. Same parents. Genetical.
Is that the start of a song? That's my brother.
He's my
Same
brother.
parents.
Let me tell you guys how this works. Every week, we're going to pick a different computer game from that era of time. We're going to take turns who picks the game, and then we're going to play it for 4 hours. I'm saying 4 hours. We might change it as time goes, but if you'd like to play along, minimum 4 hours. That's what we did this week, or at least aim to do this
minimum.
week. Yeah.
Right.
And then we're going to meet up and talk about what we think, our notes. We're going to compare notes. Now, Jim, I know you want to talk about the 4 hour thing.
Right,
did you play for 4 hours?
Right, Bob. We talked
Jim,
about
fuck you. No, Jim,
we
fuck you.
talked about me talking about the 4 hours, and you didn't let me talk about
I'm
it.
so upset that you did not play for 4 hours because I fucking was so tired the night that I put out. I was looking. I had a time on my phone. I kept looking.
Bob,
I was like 5, 4, 3. Jim,
you're counting down the seconds.
Jim, I didn't like playing this game.
Bob, I played for as many hours as I could.
What
and
was
I
the
think
time?
It was probably like 3 and change.
Okay.
It wasn't 4.
That's not too bad.
No, it was like 3 and something.
I
gave it as many hours as I could.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was brutal.
Can I tell you something that might anger you? I reached a point where I had to look up a walkthrough.
I cannot fucking believe that.
You know why? You know why?
I leave again?
No. It was like 3 hours in.
Oh,
and I was
no, I know, because I was also
like,
3 hours in.
Well, this is a show, and I can't talk about this game if I never progress.
So here's the thing. I had that same problem. But
where were you in the game?
In the last, like, half an hour, I was starting to finally make progress.
Yes.
We can go over where we got to, but let me. So, did you tell the people what game we're even talking about?
No, we didn't. That was actually pretty dumb of us. Jim, what game was it?
Well, us or maybe you.
Me. It was me.
Only America will decide.
Well, you know what? They probably know because they clicked on the title.
We'll see
but
what the title says.
Let's say it again. And let's say they clicked it blindly.
Well, if they're blind, they're probably going to have pretty trouble clicking things.
No, it could be brailled. Listen, guys, I'm pretty blind myself. It's all right. Anyway. The title is
Escape from Monkey Island.
Escape from Monkey Island, and it is part of a series.
It is the 3rd installment in the Monkey Island series from Lucasfilm Games.
I thought it was the 4th.
You're incorrect because I'm the one who did the research and you're not.
You know what? Because when I was installing it, and
right.
Should I briefly talk about the process leading up to actually installing
we'll get
the damn
to that.
game?
No, we'll get to that in a second because I have a few lingots,
morsels,
a few morsels to talk about.
I would love for you to enlighten me.
So let me bring up my research section.
Jim did all the research.
I don't know which page that's on.
You bring up your notes.
So this game it is like kind of funny, right?
Yeah, humorous.
Apparently, it's humorous. Apparently, a lot of the jokes, which I didn't get, are all callbacks to the old games, the older games, the first 2 games. And all these people that we met that they're talking about going on different sailing and stuff. Apparently they're just all recycled characters and stuff.
You know what? I got the vibe when we played it because some of them straight up said it.
Yeah.
And other ones you kind of got the feel that they knew each other. They were making jokes before. The whole series felt like it was very, I don't know if this is the right word, but serving to a fan of the series. If you were trying to jump into it at this game, you were losing, losing out. You were in a bad position pretty much. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you missed out on a lot of what was happening right over our heads.
According to some PC game reviews from the year 2000,
I'm glad you did that out, because I was thinking about that.
There are supposedly good puzzles somewhere in this game. And eventually, you do go to Monkey Island, and I didn't get to how far in their review, but it's presumed that you do escape from Monkey Island at some point
once you get to it.
Even though it's almost not talked about at all in the part of the game that I got onto, they essentially only mention the Monkey Island one time, and I'm like, when's the monkey part?
What the fuck is this game about?
Let me tell you one other thing. Apparently, it was nominated for PC Adventure Game of the Year by Computer Games Magazine in the year 2000.
Was it the only game that came out?
It must have been.
I'm sorry.
I must have another thing of notes here.
I'm sorry, whoever made this game. I think
I do. Okay, so I do have some other things about the actual game.
Yeah.
Or the game studio, right? Third game in the series. We talked about that.
Yeah.
So it was the first game that was coded using the Lua programming language.
Don't know what that is.
The first two, I'll explain it. I'm not going to explain it. The first two were made using the Scum it's called a a script. They just call it
Scum. I've heard of that.
So
I don't know what it is.
SCUMM, which is the name of the bar in the game.
Scum Bar. Okay.
Yeah, which apparently it stands for Script Creation Utility for Maniac Mansion.
Interesting.
Which was a Lucasfilm game from the Commodore 64.
Ah, that name sounded kind of familiar.
The script was created by, what's the dude's name?
Somebody
Ron Gilbert. Okay.
Is that Ron Howard's cousin?
I don't know, but apparently in the late 90s, he was in the top 15 most influential gaming people of all time.
Okay.
So just because he made Scum.
Is he like the middle-aged fat guy on the back of the Torrance Passage box?
Yeah, essentially, that's him. Yeah,
he's a Ron Gilbert.
He's
type.
Lucasfilm's Woz.
Ron Gilbert.
Yeah, but Bob. Okay, so let me break this down for you.
Sure.
A couple of morsels that I think you'll like. Right.
I would love a morse.
So he left Lucasfilm in the year 1992.
Left for Monkey Island
to form a studio with another Lucasfilm alum, and the studio was called Humongous Games.
You know what,
Bob? Now let me tell you, Humongous Games is known for such hits as Backyard Sports,
I know
Spy
that.
Fox,
Also know
and
that.
Putt Putt.
I know that as well. Humongous made a lot of games.
So the creator of Putt Putt made this game, Bob.
You know, I had a lot of vibes that seemed familiar with the jokes, and it reminded me of Spy Fox in a lot of instances. But it also, the thing is, I haven't played that many adventure games, and I mean, really, it's Torrance Passage, which is made by Sierra.
That's correct.
For those who haven't played it. Spy Fox, a couple of the Spy Foxes, and a bunch of the other games by Humongous. I never played Pajama Sam.
Yeah, there's only like a few titles.
Yeah, even still,
there's probably a lot, really.
Definitely played a couple putt-putts. But I just had this, I developed this vibe. Okay, I guess this is what an adventure game is like. Like, if it's going to be humorous, like a fun adventure game, this is what it's like. And am I cutting off morsels here, or can I go for a little bit?
Let me tell you one other thing.
Yes,
that I realized as I was researching this game, because I was a bit confused. Because
don't want you to be that.
I was looking through reviews of this game.
Sure.
And looking on the Wikipedia page and stuff like that, and looking through the resources as a good investigative researcher does. Writing
your bibliography as you go,
And I'm like, why does it keep showing as released in 2000? I picked a game that was released in 1990.
Yeah.
And then I see, and I verified this by looking through our Slack logs, is that I told you one game and you downloaded a fucking different one. And then I found the right game on Steam. It was like, is this the one? And you sent me your new different game back to me and said, no, this is the one I got.
No, it was your Curse of Monkey Island?
I picked Curse of Monkey Island.
That's the one everyone likes, apparently.
You son of a bitch.
Because when I was looking up games to do for next week, the Curse of Monkey Island came up everywhere, and I was like, really? Because I didn't enjoy Escape from Monkey Island.
You son of a bitch.
So we did the wrong game.
No. Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
But you downloaded the wrong fucking one. I imagine the first one that you tried to, you could talk about your experience.
Yeah. So when we were thinking of the concept of the show and how we were going to carry it out, we get pretty gruntled from doing things the complicated, technically accurate way. So the thought was, rather than play like a remaster or playing it off Steam, we were going to try and get it like as raw cut as possible. Like find an ISO somewhere or the discs, so we went to the
get like a DOS virtual machine.
Yeah, we went to the pirate internet. Take a look around, right? Yeah, well, it's, they're not getting any more retail money. Oh, actually, so they actually did getting retail money.
Yeah, they actually got a bunch of our money.
So I tried really hard to do it the old-fashioned way. You can't install this game on Windows 10. It doesn't work, and it doesn't work with 64-bit. Okay, so then I tried to use an old computer because I actually have a couple laptops around, and I figure I'll actually run it on a computer running Windows XP. Oh my goodness. They got the laptops going, but then there was like all strange problems. I spent like an hour getting the Wi-Fi going. Turns out the laptop, some of the keys didn't work. I had an external keyboard plugged in, and then I was still having trouble. It wouldn't read my memory card that I was trying to, the flash stick that I was trying to move the ISOs back and forth. I got so frustrated that I was like, fuck this. This is not worth the effort. So I was like, you know what I'll do? Still the hard way. I'll set up a VM on my computer of Windows XP, and then I'll play it through there. So then I had to get a copy of Windows XP. Long story short, by the time I got it all set up, I was like, this is not running fast enough to enjoy. This is kind of janky. And so daddy janky. And so from there, I was like, Jim, fuck it. I'm getting this on Steam. I can't do this anymore.
But Bob,
Jim, I'm getting the wrong game on Steam, Jim. I can't do this anymore.
Two things, right? First of all, you got the wrong game on Steam.
Sure. I think I had the wrong game the whole time.
How did you? No, I think you had the right one the first time.
I'll have to check my history of searches.
So maybe you got. I don't know. But if you got the original game the first time, how did you not realize the difference?
Because I never got the chance to open it.
And then, so maybe that's why you searched for the one you already had. So maybe you only found a pirated copy of the wrong game, not the right game. It could be. And then you searched the title of that wrong game in Steam.
They're all very similar. They have Monkey Island, The Curse, The Escape, blah, blah, blah. And like some of them that I had downloaded were like collections of all of them. Right. So I that probably added to the confusion.
So
and
you
like
made,
I said,
instead of getting the collection, you're like, let me get only specifically the wrong game.
Right. Yes. I made sure I definitely got the wrong game. Yeah. All so right. We ended. That's interesting that way. How long have you known this, that we ended up playing the wrong game?
Oh, like an hour
ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about
for the last hour. I've been marveling at how terrible the graphics are for the year 2000.
Yeah, you know what? That did confuse me, and I thought there was like a re-release because there was a remaster, which I intended to play and compare, but I didn't get a chance to do that. So maybe at a different point, maybe that will be a good for down the line. Let us know in the comments somewhere. You're either watching this on YouTube or listening to the podcast on one of the podcasting things. Let us know, and we could do a comparison to see if the remaster is any better. Because apparently they updated a lot of the graphics. They fixed, I think, controls. Let's before I rant about anything else.
Sorry, it's just reading my own notes while you're talking.
Read one of them, the notes.
Okay.
Yes.
What, verbatim?
Yes, read it verbatim. One note.
Ha ha ha, this fucking monkey Timmy. I don't know what I meant by that. These are in the moment.
Good.
So like you start at the game.
Yes.
Right?
Let's walk through it a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get on our walking shoes. Because we said a stroll.
You start at the game and it's like cinematic, right? Right away.
Yes.
And then you end up and you're like, I don't know who any of these people are. Because you like expected to know who they are because you're playing like the thruple.
The problem is that the way, and I've been thinking about this a lot today, the way that games are made now is so different to the way that they were made then. Now they do things like teach you controls.
Right. Well, it's because games like this existed before, which make no fucking sense.
Right from the start, you start out, you're on a ship, you're tied to the mast. Tells you nothing about the controls. Tells you nothing about the previous games. You don't know, barely who the fuck you are. And you have to try. So it's an adventure game, so you have to interact. For those who don't know, an adventure game, you have to interact with things on the screen. Usually you click on them.
Yeah, Bob, I tried clicking for like a solid 5 minutes.
I was clicking all over. Goddamn mouse didn't work. There's no mouse in this game. They said, you know what? We got this great thing. It's called a mouse. Fuck it. Just
point and click. Everyone hates it.
It's, point and click, great genre. Fuck it. I had the feeling that throughout the game, they were trying to do something new. Like, okay, so this is what we should say. The adventure games I played before are called point and click. You move your mouse around and you click on something, and then your character interacts. They're usually 2D, right? And usually like animated, like a cartoon would look. And the guy moves around the screen. This one was 3D. The graphics looked like N64-esque 3D, maybe a little better for the moving characters. Yeah, and they put it on top of pre-rendered backgrounds, which I thought actually looked really good. The pre-rendered.
Yeah, I mean, but they're pre-rendered, so how fucking hard
so they're still, and you're moving around the screen in fixed camera, like Resident Evil. I guess is the best, most popular fixed camera.
So number one, okay. So
oh my god, the
you
controls
start
of this
out
game.
and this fucking tied to a mast of the ship, and I could not figure out what to do for like 10 minutes.
I was getting so bad. I was like, is this the game I have to play?
Nothing was working. And I finally, after pressing all of the keys on the keyboard, kicked a coal, and then I was like, wait, what button did that?
At what point did you look for the controls? How long in?
Oh, my second session, I found the controls.
Oh, you didn't even find it the first time?
I didn't realize you could walk a run until about 2 hours into playing. One of my notes here is this guy walks so fucking slow.
I thought the same thing until I found run.
I was ready to tear my own head off. He walked so slow. Believe that.
And here's the problem, because you may not play the game. Some of the screens are gigantic, and you have to walk across the whole goddamn screen. It can take forever. Even when you're running, some of the screens take so long. I'm like, oh my God.
Not until eventually I figured out that like P, L, and semicolon did like buttons. I was like,
why is there no HUD? Why is there no tutorial? There's nothing. They don't care. They don't care if you struggle back in those days. There's like, fucking read the manual, bitch.
So eventually I figured the like space bar is pause. And I was like, okay, now we're getting somewhere.
Now we're cooking with fire.
Now we're cooking. But the first time when I wanted to stop playing, I was like, how do I stop?
Your brain. Your first thought is, let me just hit that escape key.
Yeah, and I was like, escape. And then I was like, here's what we'll do. I'll press the Windows key. And even that one didn't work.
I think I couldn't alt-tab out of it either.
It wouldn't let me leave.
Because and then another thing, back in those days, they expected you to have and read the manual.
Right.
Yeah, like absolutely. You had to. And like around this time, there was a lot of games that notoriously had things in the manual that you needed for the gameplay that you couldn't progress further if you didn't know. Like passwords or certain phrases and stuff like that. You had to just know. But so this one, as we mentioned, when you first start out, it's extreme, like the not difficulty curve, but getting used to everything curve is extremely high unless you played the other games or you're in 1990 and you have the manual and you expect that.
Even just the movement is terrible because it's tank controls, they're called.
Yeah. Yes.
So you just forward is like relative to your person.
It like ruined the game. Those controls ruined the game could have been
Bob,
1,000 times better.
I learned something that really pissed me off.
Go ahead.
Like right when I was just researching. So one of my notes here is it is so fucking hard to select what you want to do.
Yeah.
So
is it page up, page down?
Bob, I just learned that page up, page down does that.
All right, so let me explain to them before you express your anger. So as Jim mentioned, tank controls, right? So left and right, turn the direction that you want to look, and then you do forward. Now, if you have a lot of different things in one little area, they kind of come up as a stack. And as you turn yourself, they very jankily fly through all the different options. So let's say there's 4 things next to it. What you're supposed to do is you see all 4 options and you use page up and page down, and it moves your selection without needing to move your body.
It's not what you're supposed to do. Not in real life. I just learned that.
Man.
Do you know how many... I don't even know how much time where I'm like...
Oh my God. Getting into doors, just like very, very basic things became like intolerable. And I'm talking like... Even when I reached the 4th hour of the game, I was still struggling moving this motherfucker around the screen. Struggling. Like it's just so... I think that they were trying to be revolutionary. And like, we're not going to do point and click. It's 3D.
I don't know if it's
revolutionary,
but
I think they were trying to. Well, I'll have to check. Is this the first 3D game of the series?
No.
No, the one before it is.
No, I think they're all 3D.
I don't think so, because I remember seeing for one of them that it was point and click 2D.
So maybe the first one.
Yeah.
All right,
Well,
whatever. I don't know. I don't
yeah,
remember. I'm the one who's supposed to know, and I don't know. So fuck it.
You kind of got the feel like, okay, maybe if I was able to use my goddamn mouse, I could have clicked on things on the screen or done something. Like, how do you not use the mouse?
They're well, because
Did
apparently
people not have mice.
Yeah, people are. It's a no mice. So there was also a port. So I think there was supposed to be like a joystick or something that can go with it, and there was a port for PS2.
You know what? I saw joystick controls. I wonder if you had a joystick, if it would have been easier.
It probably would have been easier. Bob, let me clue you into something. So
yeah,
as much as we hated this game,
yes,
right? Hold on. Metacritic gave it an 86 out of 100. IGN gave it an 8.7 out of 10.
Outrageous.
And now for the PS2 version,
yeah,
Playboy gave it an 85%.
Playboy's like, let me just cop this game real quick.
Bob Maxim gave it an 82. Bob, why is Playboy and Maxim doing competing video game reviews?
They have to. And that's what they had to. Tits were getting old. Everyone was used to tits.
Bob, I can't even find a record of it existing.
I think it's very, very much a game of its time. And I think you had to be a part of the series. And I think if you have those two things together, I can understand why it'd be very enjoyable. Let's for a second, because I have plenty more to rant about. Let's switch to positives. Let's talk about some positives of the game.
I liked the music.
I thought it had very varied music. I didn't think that any of the songs were catchy.
No, I thought they were catchy, but they were just repetitive. Yeah, but once you get stuck in the same place,
once you never progress.
Yeah. They start to get like repetitive, right?
So
but like I think they are catchy, but like I haven't caught them. But I think they're catchy.
But then they're not.
No. But I mean, what songs do you? I don't remember any songs offhand, so that's not fair.
Yeah, that's true. You don't.
So but I thought they were good. Maybe not catchy then.
I just won't sing songs.
Yeah.
I thought they were good. I wasn't listening. I was like, oh my god. Yeah, I thought they were all right. Yeah.
No, yeah, but like certainly if you're stuck in the same place, or But I thought that it had a lot more conversation than I was expecting. I know. Some of it was kind of annoying. Yeah. So much different like conversation choices, but I did appreciate how much they had.
I couldn't believe once you started getting into it how many lines of dialogue this game has.
Yeah, they must have recorded so much. And like we got nowhere in the game.
I mean, so I did 3 belabored hours of real deal, not giving up, not cheating.
Right. So I cannot believe you fucking cheated. All right. So how far did you get then? Why don't you walk us through how far you got?
Why don't we start out and walk us through how far you got?
Okay.
For the people. Okay. So the people who don't know the game.
Yeah, I'm gonna
understand. We'll keep it very brief.
Yeah. So you come back from, playing the first 2 games.
Yes.
With your beloved governor pirate wife who one of my notes is saying that she's kind of hot for a video game lady.
She looks kind of like the girl from Hercules.
Yeah, I can see that. I think I remember.
Yeah. Probably came out around the same time too.
Yeah.
You start out on the boat.
Yeah, and she's the governor, but you guys have been away on your honeymoon for so long that she's been pronounced dead.
Yes.
And so now the government has decided to call a vote for a new mayor and knock down your governor's mansion.
Right.
So the first plot points of the game are to stop the guy who's trying to catapult rocks at your house.
Yeah.
And then go to see your family's lawyers on another island.
Yes. The island you start on is called Melee Island, for what it's worth. And the island that you need to go to next is called Lucre Island.
Yes, that's correct.
Don't know why.
Every time they say things in the game, they copyright it. And I do not understand why. In the lines every time they say one of their own IP, they copyright it.
Yeah.
In the game.
Next to the names of the islands, there's a TM. A
trademark,
lot of stuff. It has a TM next to it, trademark. I don't know why that is.
Every time they say Melee Island or anything.
I heard they say
TM.
One of the characters made a joke about it. It gets very meta.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, one of my other things is that one of my other notes is that they break the fourth wall like all the time.
Yeah. But see, that's what I'm saying. I don't have that much experience with adventure games. Let's say comedy adventure game is a genre that I just invented, because that lines up with all the other adventure games that I've played.
Sure. So then maybe that's not a subgenre. That's just the whole genre.
No, because I think
If it
that
lines
there's
up with all the games you played.
No, but I haven't played that many. I think there's definitely serious adventure games.
Oh, they're so serious.
Yeah, this is a playful adventure game. And during it, they make all of the games I played made meta jokes, fourth wall jokes. And one of them they did do is they say like, oh, that's a perfect place to put a TM. Yeah. I don't know why they thought they had to do that. That other game was going to use Melee Island. But either way, so I don't want to get too into the weeds of the plot, but because
we can
because we didn't get very far.
Right. But all right. So I cannot believe you fucking cheated.
Jump ahead. Yeah, and for the people that have played the game, this will be relevant. Where did you get stuck at?
The first part. So I talked to the guy, and he's like. Hold
on. We have to explain what's going on. If you're going to talk about it, you have to explain. The guy is throwing boulders at the house.
I go talk to the catapult guy, and he's like,
yes, with the catapult.
Like, yeah, I can't do anything. See, unless because I'm on Union.
Yeah, that sounds pretty close,
but I get ample snack breaks. Yeah. So you got to get him a snack, right?
Rice, yes. He gives you a hint. You have to do a lot of talking to people. A lot.
Oh my God, do so much talking.
You can't.
So then you go like everywhere. I go and I talk to Otis and someone, and you find out that these people were after talking to them for like 15 minutes, you find out these people were actually in your sailing boat from your last adventures, which you might have known if you played the other games.
Yeah, I mean,
and you also find out that Otis might have been a monkey sex slave on Monkey Island because he has crazy PTSD.
He's frightened
and won't talk about what happened. So I wrote down that he was probably a monkey sex slave.
Okay, I wouldn't rule that out either. Yeah. He's very high strung.
So eventually,
I think he might be Puerto Rican too.
Yeah. So then I go and I talk to the lady on the dock for like a million hours. I'm like, all right. So I can't get a snack from anyone. No one's got snacks. I go into the voodoo store. There's no one in it.
Ever.
There's no one ever in it. Okay. So I leave. I'm like, all right, hold on. What if I walk into this corner at just the right angle? I'll find stairs because there's a second floor on the outside that you can see.
Do you know there's a ladder in there? There's a ladder. If you when you come inside, if you walk all the way forward, there's a ladder.
Bob, shut your goddamn mouth.
Here's the thing. You climb the ladder and there's nothing up there.
All right, good.
The screen doesn't change.
I'm gonna Bob. I'll get to it. You can get to your experience.
Sorry, you're right. You're right. Go ahead.
So then I go and
I don't want to retell this part over because it's the same. So I'm adding supplemental.
No. But I'm gonna come back to this. All right, as part of my journey.
Okay.
And so then there's nothing in there. I go into there's a bunch of storefronts in the middle of town. Yes. I go into one storefront.
Good. Yeah. Describe what everything
you out the front out the door of a different storefront, like a Scooby-Doo episode.
It's like 3 different houses. You go into them and you come out another house.
So then there's only one other big building, and it's like town hall or something. You go in and your wife yells at you and she kicks you back out. Okay. So then I go into the scum bar.
Sure.
And I go and I talk to these crusty darters. And they're like, oh yeah, we'll play a dodge.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, leave these guys alone. I'll go talk to the bartender. And he's like, oh yeah, I go talk to him. I'm like, oh, I'm hungry. I could use a snack. And he's like, oh, I've got beef jerky pretzels.
No, kudu pretzels.
Yeah.
Kudu jerky pretzels.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, great. Give me some. And he's like, nope. He's like, they're too slimy for you to take with your hands. I'm like, okay, all right.
At least you felt like you were getting somewhere.
Oh yeah, now I'm starting to get somewhere, Bob. I figured it out.
Now you're on the tracks.
So now I go
you're
to
the scene,
the back of the bar, where I find the owner, Mr. Cheese,
Mr. I Cheese.
Right, I go talk to him. I try and convince him to be my navigator. He won't do it. Right, and then I go talk to the drunkard, and he's like,
yeah, pretty much.
I talked, and I'm
he's
like, all right,
out.
I've had success with just berating people with conversation. So I talked to this drunk guy for like 15 minutes, him saying nonsense. I'm thinking maybe if I do the right series of words to him.
The fucking problem is that sometimes that does work.
It does work on some people. Yeah. So like his actual words are like, and I'm like, oh, like, hello, how are you doing?
Dude, at some point, I'm pretty sure it was that guy. He yells ball sack.
Oh, I think he does. Yeah.
I wrote that down.
And then eventually I'm like, all right, fuck this. And so I leave again. And I go back and I talk to the boat lady again. And I'm like, I go look around. And eventually, Bob, I found an inner tube.
Yes.
Okay. So now.
Yes.
Now, at this point, by the time I found the inner tube, I figured out that F1 is how you bring up the controls.
How did I find out what the controls were? That's why I
because you use a cheat sheet.
No, because very early on in the game, I was very frustrated. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And I don't know if I thought to press all the F keys or if I maybe looked up how to open the goddamn menu.
Yeah.
But I didn't look at a walkthrough till 3 hours in.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess I didn't get down to the point where it was like, use page up, page down to go to the thing. So I never figured that one out. But eventually I got to like, I saw that there was like, use this. You can like use things.
It was so confusing.
It was like, so I figured out that like you could press the O as like a hotkey to get out of things or like back out.
Overworld for
yeah,
O.
Overworld or whatever. So that was helpful. And then like
I found that one late.
Was like use it. Eventually, I found out how to run by accident because I was so frustrated from walking. I was just pressing the forward button, and if you double tap it, he runs.
Does it really?
Yeah, and I thought that's how you run.
Yeah,
and so eventually, when I looked at the controls, it said shift was run, and I was like, oh, "You son of a bitch,
I'll fucking kill you."
But for so long, I was just walking.
I was having a bad time walking.
So now I've got this inner tube, and I'm using it on everything. I'm trying to give people an inner tube. I'm trying to bribe the boat mistress with an inner tube.
I don't think he'd like that.
And I'm like, he's like, I don't think I can do that. Oh, I had this great strategy, right? Because I eventually I figured out this drunk dude has the pretzels. He won't give them to me.
Right.
Okay.
Give him an inner tube.
Right. Well, I tried giving him the inner tube. I thought he'd be happy with it. But he did not want it. So I thought there's a bottle of whiskey next to Mr. Cheese.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, if I give this guy more booze, he'll give me his pretzels.
Yeah.
Except he would not pick it up.
He said, I don't think the owner would appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's I think what he says when you try and keep the bottle.
So after that, I like gave up and I came back in the next round and I went and I talked to Mr. Cheese again.
Yeah.
And all right, I'll go a little bit out of order, but it doesn't matter. I talked to Mr. Cheese again and I challenged him to insult arm wrestling.
Right.
And so after like 20 minutes, I was able to beat him.
That one was a puzzle, a terrible puzzle, but a puzzle.
Eventually, I learned that you need to line up your responses with what he says, and eventually you can win. But even when you do that, it's hard. Yeah.
So he'll say something, and then there'll be a list of like 15 possible things for you to say, and only one of them makes the most sense based on what he said.
Yeah.
Like here's an example. He's like, "Oh, your arms look like puny grapes," and then the correct response is like, "Well, you ate them all."
No, something it was like that. It was like, I'll smash you like a grape.
Yeah.
And then you go, yeah, maybe if you would ever stop whining.
Was that one of them? Okay.
Well, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. But that's kind of the gist of that one. Yeah.
And then he was like, oh, my arms have crushed an octopus. And then your response is like, I'm sure spineless creatures everywhere are shivering.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's some like land baron that has taken over everything by challenging people to insult versions of regular games.
They call him the Australian.
So there's insult arm wrestling. There was like insult,
which
like
I
hula
think
hooping.
Is a carryover from one of the previous games. Because they talk about all these insult things as if you know what it is. They don't explain it.
Yeah.
They have no empathy if you have not played the other games. So the designers of this game have none. If you didn't play the other games, fuck you, pretty much.
So I then went back into the voodoo place.
Yeah.
And then once I learned how to use this use feature, I was using it on everything.
Did anything work?
Yes. In the voodoo place.
Really?
If you use the pointer finger, that mirror or whatever it is in the bottom right corner spins around and there's a voodoo lady.
Holy shit.
And then she gives you like clues.
We had a totally different experience.
Yeah, and then she's like, "Tell me what you want here." And
tell me now.
Yeah, you're like, "I don't know what to do in the game," or something like that. It's like you tell her, and she's like, "Oh, you must use gravity against him."
Really? They give you hints.
Yeah, but they're extremely vague.
Yeah. Well, there's something.
So okay. So now I still have no idea what to do.
Can I pause real quick? Here's how fucked up this is. The game's super fucking mysterious, so you need hints. But to get the hints, you have to figure out how to get the hints, which I never got.
Bob, so you know how hard it was?
Christ.
Once I figured out how to use, I was using on everything, right?
I figured that out very late.
I mean, me too. I made all this progress that I made was in like the last 40 minutes.
But here's the thing. For those of you who haven't played, Jim at this point has still not completed the first challenge.
That's correct.
Of the game. The very first part.
So I am then using use on everything. So like I go to use the voodoo doll. I go to, and then I get to the hand. And then it's like use hand or something like that. And I'm like, okay.
Boom.
And so I do the thumb.
Yeah.
And then I do the pinky finger, and I get the ring finger, and I get the middle finger.
That's all the fingers.
Bob, it takes me like 7.5 minutes to position him correctly because I don't know how to do the page up, page down thing.
Page up, page down, yeah.
I know there's one finger left, and it has to do something.
Here's what fucking really annoys me. The enter button is how you select the actions.
Okay,
but the use button also selects the actions. So if you're looking at something and an option comes up to do something, you could press enter or U, right? And it'll do it. But sometimes you will do something different than enter. Sometimes you will use and enter will enter. Fuck you. Fuck you for doing that, designers.
So now we're getting somewhere, right? I talked to the voodoo lady.
You're cooking at that point.
So now I'm like, all right, we just got to try. Let's try talking to everyone again. Now I go talk to the barkeep again. I got Mr. Cheese has joined my rugged crew. He's my navigator.
He's your navigator.
Whenever I'm ready to go to Lucra Island, he's going to be on my team.
Let's just quickly add again. The point of the first world is to get off that island with a ship. You need people to help you. You need a ship and you need people on the ship to help you. Okay, go ahead.
So the lady in charge of the dock is not letting me commandeer a vessel. She's not about it. I keep telling her I'm commandeering a vessel. She keeps saying no. I've tried it many times. Yes. Bob, I tried using the inner tube to put into the coin slot of the soda machine so maybe I could sober up the drunk guy with a surge from the soda machine.
Frustrating because there's a lot of stuff that does nothing at all.
Right. Okay. So now I go to the bar and I see look at painting and I notice that it's a nudie picture of the lady from the docks.
Really?
It is.
I didn't notice
So now I see it's a nudie picture. Now I go talk back to her.
You think you're gonna bribe her?
And I'm like, here we go. Now I got the dirt on her.
Yeah.
Now I can get her to give me a vessel and then I'll just get out of here and worry about my governor's pension another time. Because that one's a lost cause.
Okay, the first task of the game.
Yeah. So long story short, she doesn't go for it. She's not that embarrassed. She just said she was, doing something artistic. So now I'm like,
I didn't go through any of that.
So now I'm like, all right, at least I'm getting somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. So now I go talk to everyone again. I'm like, who the fuck haven't I talked to?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I guess I haven't really talked to the darts guys.
Yeah.
And so I go talk to the darts guys and I just like, all right, we got somewhere before with going through all the lines of dialogue. Let's do it again. And I go through all of it and I convince them to throw a dart and it pops the drunk guy's balloon and he wakes up.
Yep.
And then he falls back asleep or something like that. And I'm able to steal his pretzels.
Something crazy. Yeah.
I'm able to actually steal his pretzel. And I'm like, I fucking got it now.
So let me add one little insert here. So what Jim's talking about, there's two guys playing darts, and they give you the option of picking things for them to try and hit as like a challenge with the darts. And I actually really liked that part because they threw these darts all around the bar. One of them was meta, and they said, bet you can't hit that person over there. And they threw it at the screen.
No, yeah, it was one, can you hit that post on the right side of the screen, it said.
I thought there was a different one.
Maybe.
Either way. So they do it, and then it cracks your screen.
Oh, no, mine didn't do that.
So I don't think you did the right one then.
Oh, so mine just said, can you... Yeah.
So for mine, one of them was, I thought it was, can you hit that person over there? And when it did it, it cracked the screen, and it stayed cracked. I mean, for the rest of the game.
Really? Like, even after you saved and came back?
Yes.
Wow.
It was permanently fucking cracked. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And then after a while, I was like, can I please get rid of this big crack in my screen for Christ's sake? Yeah. So the first time when I threw the darts all over the place, I left and came back and the darts were still there, which I thought was really cool. But eventually after I exited and saved, the little darts weren't there. So that didn't persist. But the broken screen stayed the whole goddamn game. I was like, this fucking thing is broken.
That's pretty crazy.
I think that's cool, but they should let you click on it and have a new screen come down or something.
No.
Yes. Clearly,
you get what you pay for.
Yeah, clearly not. Yeah. So at this point, Jim has still not completed the first challenge.
Right. But now, Bob, now I got the juice.
Yeah. Now you're at least understanding that you have to talk to everyone a million times.
Right. I got the jerky at this point. Right. Yes. So now I give it to the guy.
Yeah.
And then he's like distracted, and I go and fudge with his things. I go and tinker with his trebuchet.
Slingshot.
Yeah, and then she shoots it off, and it lands near a cactus that looks just like a tuning fork. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, here we go.
Here we go.
And I go run over, and I use my inner tube on the tuning fork.
Yes, to make like a slingshot.
I distract him again, twerk it again,
and
then he shoots the cannonball towards the tuning fork, and then bounces it back and hits the thing, and it rolls off the canyon or off the cliff, I should say.
Yes, and
I accomplished that. And
are you trying to impress me?
And
I accomplished that all on my own. That's something I did,
and I did that.
It's on my LinkedIn.
That's something I did.
Yeah.
Also,
can I talk about that little part?
Yeah. Okay.
Before you get into it, also. So what he's talking about, there's a catapult and a pile of boulders next to it. Okay. Now I figured out the slingshot thing very early. I found the inner tube and I put it in the cactus. Okay. Now I'm seeing a slingshot. Now I'm thinking I have to put something in this slingshot and I'm going to slingshot something at him.
Right. So here's the thing. I also realized that's what I had to do, but I didn't know how to get things in my inventory or out of my inventory to use the inner tube on the cactus. Because I had earlier walked up to the cactus and was just trying to interact with it and it wouldn't let me do anything.
We're not going to go through, for anyone listening, we're not going to go through the whole entire plot here. We'll just go through
Bob, I don't have any more to go through. That's all I got done.
Okay. So I'll just say that when I was still learning the controls and I got through that part faster than Jim, but still painfully slow, there was a pile of boulders next to this guy and I tried just endlessly to try and take one of them, like to get around. And if you just get into his sight, he goes, "Hey, what are you doing over there? Get out of there." Now you're like 20 seconds waiting for the walk and you're talking. Long. Same thing with the dart players in the bar. If you get in front of them, like, "Hey, get out of the way." And then then you got to move and you're like, "Sorry, I didn't mean to." And then you're like, "Oh my God, how can I get through?" You can't skip that part. So something else that we should mention, in the game, there are cinematic cutscenes, but most of the cinematic scenes are live action. What would you say?
I don't know. It doesn't happening live.
It doesn't cut to a pre-rendered thing. Yeah. So it uses the cat, which I thought was kind of cool. Although when you're watching it, it kind of looks like you're at like it's a small world. They're all standing there.
Yeah, but at least
like,
it's not. There isn't
world.
like differing graphics, right? Like you cut to a cutscene and it's like all of a sudden better, and you have to go back to
too far away. So there's like people halfway across a field having a conversation. You're standing all the way back here, like, why can't I go closer? You can't adjust the camera, and it doesn't get closer. So wherever they are, that's what's happening.
So there's like 4 like stages in like the overworld for like the first island, right? There's like the town, the docks, the scrum bar.
4 areas on the map.
Yeah. There's the town, the docks, the mansion,
governor's mansion, the wax house.
Yeah, wax house. So like, I tried so many times to talk to the guy in the wax house, but I talked to him the first time.
As did I.
And like, I didn't know what to say, right? So I just like did this. I was like, oh, here's a funny bit. I'll pretend to be a solicitor.
Yeah.
And then he was like, no, go away. And then I was like, haha, that's funny. And then I like went to go knock. And he's like, who's there? And all he kept saying was, "It's me again." And I'm like, no, let me get the chance to tell him I'm not that person. I picked I was convinced, and I still am, that I picked the wrong choice from the beginning, and now I just cannot progress in the game.
So let me jump in with my experience here. Okay, I got past the catapult thing, and now I'm not going to talk about every single other thing, but a lot of things happen. Going forth, get stuck, talk to everyone. Like when you feel like you're very stuck, the annoying part is you have to talk to everyone about every possible dialogue option. Yeah. And for each person, you'll go talk to them. There'll be like 4 lines of dialogue. You pick one, and then it goes into the next thing, 5 options. then you pick another
branches
one,
out.
and then 4 more from there. So now how many fucking permutations are there? And if you don't pick the right one, and some of them are just nonsensical for fun. That's like these kind of games have a lot of flourish. Like you're supposed to be, when you say like, oh, what are you, some kind of dingus? And like,
hey.
Right? He'll say that, and then you'll like be back in the main set of options, and you could do the whole thing. So if you don't like just pick the right one, you're going through all of the options. And now, and if you didn't know, which I didn't know, that you have to talk to every single person and try every single option.
Essentially, yeah.
You are fucked. Because you will run around like crazy.
Bob, even when I knew I had to do that, I was fucked.
You will run around like crazy trying to select and do everything.
Bob, I thought there was just like some little space I haven't checked out.
Okay, so here's my biggest gripe with this game. Well, not my biggest gripe. My biggest gripe is the controls. They're absolutely fucking horrendous. My second biggest gripe is it's almost impossible to know what things you can pick up or not. So some of the
you can
things,
essentially pick up nothing.
some of the things like
there's a tube.
What Jim's saying, right? You can get some of them, but some of them they'll be like in a background, and you'll walk over and you'll hit the only option that says like look at bookcase, okay? And it'll be like, oh, it's filled with old books. Now you were supposed to know to like press use or press or look at a very specific spot, and then it'd be like, oh, it looks like it's a scroll, and then you're supposed to try and pick it up.
Oh, I didn't get to the scroll part.
So I got stuck, for those of you who played.
Yeah, but
where you're
for those of you who are
get
using cheat sheets and walkthroughs.
So for those
here's where you can listen in.
So I got stuck at one point where I needed a specific contract, and I couldn't fucking get anyone to do what I wanted to do. So I'm running around like crazy, offering it to everyone, like Jim said, and I'll jump ahead. I finally got off the goddamn island into the next island. Okay. I had to cheat. I cheated on one thing at that part.
Wow.
One. And then I started going from there. Okay. And I was like furious that I would have never got that. Okay, now notice the way that I say this, okay? Notice very particularly the way I'm going to say this. I would have never got that. Skip ahead to the next island. Now, at this point, I'm 3 hours in. There's 1 hour left. I know I have to talk about this game. And I'm making no progress.
I would say you're making a lot of progress.
Not as much as I feel like I fucking should be making. So at this point, I go, you know what? Jim's going to be pissed probably, or he already did it. Or I pictured it going 2 ways. One of you going, you son of a bitch. The other way going, oh, I was in that immediately. So I figured I was 50-50, right? Yeah. So at this point, I start going through the walkthrough. And now compare this to what I said before. I would have never fucking ever known to do the things it talked about in here. Jim, you can combine items in your inventory.
Bob, I barely learned how to get in the inventory.
Jim, in the inventory, there's nothing on fucking screen to tell you what to do at all. Nothing. Yeah. How am I ever supposed to know that I'm supposed to be looking at an item, then press use inside the inventory, then pick another item to combine the two?
What did you combine?
So you had to make this perfume that had like 6 different ingredients in it. And some of them are like places on the map you'd never ever think would have anything there. There's like one flower like hidden at the edge of like a swamp, not by itself, like next to a tree.
Bob, did the wax guy ever come out of his house?
No. Dude,
what? But you know, I would have kept trying that.
Well, here's the thing. I think you eventually come back to that same island.
Okay.
So
I mean, you have to, right?
And that was weird too, because I left the first world, we'll say, right? It's the first island to go to the second world. And I felt like there was a lot of things very undone there. So I thought, okay, I guess I must be going back. Like Jim found the voodoo lady in that house. I went into that fucking voodoo house 9 billion times, and I did not get a single thing accomplished, found, nobody to talk to. I'm like, I guess they come back later in the game.
Bob, once I learned that use button, I used everything, and then I got that fingy, and I used it, baby.
Even something like going in and out of your inventory, which for an adventure game is pivotal because you're picking up things and using them and talking to people. That's the whole game. Picking up, using, talking, right? Getting things in and out of your inventory was annoying. You like press I and then press I again, and you take it out, and then to put it away was tough. And like Jim was saying, to use it on the correct thing, you had to be looking like the exact right way. I mean, it was just infuriating.
So apparently, so I guess you didn't get up to this, but so there's like all sorts of different insult games. But apparently, like the crowning achievement of this game, and like the biggest like mini game, you know how there's like insult darts or whatever and insult arm wrestling, is something they came up with called Monkey Combat.
Okay.
Which they do a monkey combat, supposedly. Which is a spoof of the opening. But really, it's just rock, paper, scissors, but with monkey noises. And I didn't get like a video clip, so I'm just reading like descriptions from like reviews.
Yeah.
And it's you have to choose different like phrases called like eek, oop, chi, and ak.
When I think of monkey sounds, ak isn't on it. Ak!
Right? In order to take different monkey stances.
Jim.
To like, I guess, be rock, paper, or scissor.
Here's the thing about this game.
I both do and do not wish I got up to that part.
They really do give the actual fans of this game a lot. Let's talk positive for a little bit. Can we get positive for a second?
Oh, we can. Bob, let's wrap up this game in general, because I don't want to sit here for 3 hours and talk about how shitty this game is. Let's give our final thoughts here.
Yeah, I'm going to give some positive thoughts, and then I'll give like a final.
I'll give you one final tidbit of information. Apparently, they weren't really going to make this game.
Great.
But they did another... they based their decision on like the previous adventure game that they made. I think it was called like Phantasm or Fantastic or something.
Yeah.
And it made money. So they're like, I guess people still want adventure games. So they're like, okay,
it's a weird genre.
I guess we'll make it.
Yeah.
Is apparently how it played out. And it definitely feels like they were like, what can we just throw in this game?
Maybe that's why it has so much of a, we don't give a shit if you don't know what's going on. Because they're like, this is for the fans. We know that's going to make money. Let's do it for the fans. Yeah. And my positives. Bob's positives. Okay. So, Jim, take a stroll over to Bob's Positives Corner. Yeah. Welcome to Bob's Positives Corner. So there was a lot of voice acting, and some of it was really good. And I think if you were to take a look at the IMDb or whatever, which I didn't, I think because I was kind of picking up on some voices, but I couldn't tell exactly who they were.
I looked at the names and I did not recognize any of them.
Okay, but you don't know a lot of the
video game voice actors.
Yeah, no. They're like cartoon voice actors, because you're talking back before cartoons were big business. I think like Billy West might have been in there somewhere, maybe.
No.
Anyway, don't do it right now. But I mean that there's a lot of voice acting in there, and some of it is pretty good. Some of it's pretty terrible. But there's a lot. There's a gajillion options of dialogue, which if you're really into that, you're going to enjoy. I think they do make effort to change up gameplay every once in a while. I found some interesting angles and like little touches that were different. I think it's almost unplayable. Now Bob's negative corner. It's almost unplayable without a walkthrough guide.
Okay, so we could touch on this real quick because it was easy to pull up, right?
Sure.
So Guybrush,
which we didn't mention that one time.
Oh, his name is Guybrush Threepwood or something.
Threepwood is the main character's name. Guybrush Threepwood.
He is voiced by Dominic Armato.
Who's who?
So I will tell you, his television credits are 3 episodes in Ah Real Monsters as additional voices.
Love it. I love additional voices.
In 1996. In 1999, he was in Godzilla the series as additional voices.
Sure.
From 1993 to 2002, he was Sputz Ringley in the hit TV show Rocket Power.
Who's Sputz?
I have no idea. It's not even a clickable link.
Sputz.
But he also did work. I guess he stayed with LucasArts. He was in the original Curse of Monkey Island, so it's the same actor.
Yeah.
He was in Star Wars Episode 1, the game from 1999. He played 5 different people.
And he was making that Threepwood money.
Star Wars X-Wing Alliance in 99, Star Wars Force Commander in 2000, Episode 1 Racer in 2000.
Jim, you're the research guy. Can I ask you a research-related question?
Yeah.
What age is this game for?
It's not for anyone.
Because I find myself, some of the jokes are so dumb that, like, you're a poopy head. But then they'll have somebody saying, like, ball sack, or there's like a lot of sexual innuendo.
Oh, Bob, I think I know.
Who's it for?
No, see, one of the guys, and he was from the second game, LeChuck. I don't know if you got up to him. I think the second game was called like The Curse of LeChuck. The guy who plays him, he has some film work. So you might like know
the guy
him.
who play I Cheese might have had
right. So Bob, you actually might know him. His very prominent film work was playing the gorilla in the Wild Thornberrys movie. So you're right in that these are very prominent voice actors.
They've had other work. They weren't just people they found in the studio.
This guy did a bunch of television stuff. I could say real quick. SWAT Cats. He was, I guess, in one episode of SWAT Cats. He was in Batman animated series. He was Zeus in an episode of Animaniacs.
Okay.
He was in 2 episodes of Pinky and the Brain.
Okay.
He was in The Real Adventures of Johnny Quest.
All right. I think that's good on the list. He got around. He
did some other Spider-Man, some other Batman.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is
he was in 2 episodes of Dexter's Lab
and actual voice
an episode
actors.
of Cow and Chicken. Come on, Bob. You got to let me keep doing this. He was in an episode of Johnny Bravo, Kim Possible, Grim and Evil.
He made his way around the Cartoon Network.
I was thinking about something else. I don't know what Grim and Evil is. That is
Grim
the show.
and Evil was
Mandy or something?
Yeah, that's the
Bill
one.
Bill and Mandy.
Yeah, Bill and Ted's Excellent Mandy Adventure.
Yeah. Okay, now you can continue to stop me.
Yeah. I guess in summation.
Yeah,
this
in
game
life as in literature.
This game does not hold up well unless you're a fan of the original series.
Or of this game specifically.
Right. Yeah, but then it doesn't. Okay. If you already liked this game, you'll probably be okay playing it. Or if you were a fan of the original series, you probably will enjoy it.
I don't think there's anything about this game that's specific to the time period besides the genre and control. Like
that's
movement.
Enough. That's enough. The controls are enough to
I think if you liked it, and I know, but I think if you liked it then, you'll like it now.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I agree with you there. Yeah, because you'll be used to it. You're like, oh, I remember this tank controls.
Hey, oh, no mouse, got it.
Yeah, but I'm trying to say for someone, oh, fuck the mouse. Oh, I remember. Who cares about mice? Why would you ever? Yeah. It's one of the greatest inventions ever made.
They're trashing the computer.
Trash. They're trashing our rights, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. It made me so. Where's the mouse? Why is the mouse not working? Why can't I use the mouse?
You just can't. You just can't.
But otherwise, pass. But definitely had to force myself to hit the 4 hours.
Yeah, I didn't even get there. If I had more hours, I would have given it more hours because I was pretty proud at the progress I was making in the last 40 minutes.
When it was pretty good, it was okay. And when I couldn't figure out what the fuck to do, it was infuriating because of the controls.
That's kind of the allure of really hard games, right? Is it's so frustrating, but once you figure something out, it's so rewarding.
I know. And I agree with you there. But it had that Castlevania, you have to kneel in the corner, unwinnable.
First of all, that's Simon's Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest. Yes. Don't trash on Castlevania 1 like that.
They're trashing our rights. They're trashing. Yeah, but it's one of those it's almost unbeatable.
No. Yeah. Well, for some of us, you can make progress without looking through a walkthrough.
I did. I got further than you without the walkthrough.
No. But if I had more time, I would have continued to make progress.
Oh, you mean if you actually would have played the 4 hours?
That's correct, yes.
Yes, Your Honor, that is correct.
Yeah. That is correct, yeah.
So I think this is actually the perfect way for me to lead into our next game.
Sure, you have it. I should write this down. Hold on,
I do. You're not going to have to write it down. Don't worry. You'll know. I'll remind you.
No, I'm going to write it down.
Okay. So turns out there's a lot of adventure games.
How do you spell that?
It's add and then venture. And I didn't want to pick another adventure game.
Okay.
Even though I had one in mind. So I looked through all the other things and then I just could not help myself to pick another adventure game.
Okay. I swear to God, if you pick Putt-Putt.
And the game is Myst. It's on every list as one of the best games from the period. And I think it will gruntle me from where I was disgruntled playing this game because it's adventure puzzle and I think it's known for having really good puzzles. Like I was dying to do a puzzle the whole time I was playing. I was like, please, let me do a puzzle. The
game was a puzzle.
None of the fucking game was a puzzle.
No, how to get the beef jerky, how to get the kudu jerky from the drunkman.
No.
That's a puzzle.
I can't say no enough.
It's a puzzle.
Stop it.
I
want to walk. I wish if I get a time machine, I'm going back to when they were developing the game. I'm going to the studio. I'm walking inside. Hey, what's going on, guys? Oh, is this the team from Monkey Island? Are you guys? Oh, you guys are making Escape from Monkey Island.
Are you guys planning on
Jim,
making Super Monkey Ball?
You be the dev. I'll
be the dad.
Yeah, you be the dad and the dev.
Okay, yeah, I'm the dev.
I walk in. I'm still me. Hey, are you one of the? Okay, good. All right. Are you one of the? Are you guys developing Escape from Monkey Island?
Oh God, I'm so busy right now.
Are you one of the
so
devs?
many monkeys everywhere.
No, are you coding the controls for this game?
Yeah, I based this game off of this dream that I had where I was stuck in a monkey jail trying to escape the island.
And I was driving a tank. But that'll never work. They'll never let me put my tank into the game.
No matter how hard I try to escape, I can't get away.
I've never played so much of a game where what I thought was the game didn't happen.
Bob, they said Monkey Island like one time in the course of me playing, and
it's
had
almost
to check.
Not about Monkey Islands at all, really.
Yeah. I think
Jim?
at one point I looked to see if if Monkey Island was even involved in this game.
Like, can a brother get a monkey or an island in this game? I mean, you're on an island, so they had that. That was down.
At some point, there were monkeys, though. I guess it was in the cutscene because I did write notes about monkeys.
I saw one monkey at one point, yeah.
His name must have been Timmy.
He might not.
I wrote that down.
I think you added that name on your own. Jim, let me hear your final thoughts.
Yeah,
Wrap it up for the people.
It was really hard to even physically play this game. I couldn't control him. I didn't know any of the buttons. I couldn't figure out the menu. I couldn't run. I didn't know what to do or how to do it. It was enjoyably unenjoyable in a way.
It's like you're instantly debilitated.
Yeah, it was like so hard to even do anything. But yeah, I'm glad it's over, if that's a positive.
It was definitely a blast from the past in terms of how these games were structured and the lack of tutorial.
I don't even want to sully the past with attributing this game to representing it.
So I'll say one last thing and then we'll wrap it up. Here's an experience from modern day gaming, which I'll compare here and have like a very stark contrast. In Super Mario 3D Land, I think it was, if you play a certain level, let's say, I think it was like 3 times and you lost, there is a golden mushroom, I think, that comes up and makes you like invincible for like a long time. So that way you could beat the level. And now in gaming, there's a big trend for like, they want people to be able to progress.
Well, they want people to play the game.
They want people to play the game. I think because there's so much option now, but you can't afford for people to not play the game.
No, but I mean, it's as long as it doesn't specifically annoy people, it's to the developer and the publisher's benefit for people to actually play the whole game. If you get through the whole game, you're more likely to like the whole game.
In the 90s, they didn't give a shit. And the 80s,
especially
was probably,
on computer,
and the 70s were probably even worse.
Like computer games specifically, console games were always a little bit more hand-holding.
Still pretty hard.
Yeah, depending, right? So, but
we're talking about an era of games where some people just never beat these games. Like you own them and you never beat them ever.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I think I'm looking forward. I think Myst is going to be one of these games where you have to have a notepad and taking, the left crystal was now.
I have.
All right, good. You have your notepad ready. Because I remember that era, and it still might be. They still might be making.
I remember writing down cheat codes a lot and having like a note, like a thing full of like cheat codes before you can get like the little manual or like the book that they'll sell full of like set cheat codes or whatever. From the Scholastic Book Fair.
Yeah, I remember seeing people's dads have like notebooks on their desk, or Uncle Tommy used to write directly on his mouse pad. Just write notes. He had some kind of puzzle game, and like you had to write down, okay, you're gonna go left, and then okay, the blue shard, I have to remember, was from
Yellow
Esmeralda.
Wizard.
Yeah. So Myst for next week.
With a Y.
If and I'm pretty sure you can get that on Steam. And that's where we both played our game eventually on Steam. If you'd like to play along with us, between now and next week, or, take as long as you want before you listen to the next episode, but hopefully you
Bob,
keep
here's
up
the
with
thing.
us. Play it for 4 hours. Don't talk to us in the meantime.
No, but
and then listen to our notes.
But won't by the time, hold on. All right, we'll talk about this later.
No. You're talking about like release order and everything.
Yeah.
They're not listening to this live right now, Jim.
No, I know, but by the time they listen to it, we'll have been done playing the next game.
It's fine because they won't.
So we have to give them 2 games in a row.
No. Okay. It's going to make sense. When they're coming out, it'll make sense. Because then
I don't think so.
The next episode hasn't released yet when they're listening to this. Okay.
Right. Oh, then they'll have another week. So I'm still right because
Exactly.
it needs to be 2 weeks in the future. I am right. You're right. Thanks.
Guys.
You're right that I'm right. Got it.
This has been CD ROMP. My name's Bob.
Oh, I'm Jim.
And we'll see you next Wednesday for CD ROMP.
Please, Lord.